Okay. Okay.
Okay, I have a script I'm going to read for the education meeting today. Hello, I am Patsy Zeller and serve as the chair of the Education Committee of Kansas State Board of Nursing. I ask the members of the Education Committee to respond to a roll call, signifying their presence as a remote open meeting by Zoom and YouTube. Juliana Resnick, she gave notice she'll be a few minutes late. Andrea Watson.
Present.
Christina Rudisil.
Present.
Dee Bonham-Blust.
Present.
Amy Height.
Present.
Michelle Berdishaw.
Present.
I also ask the following board staff members to signify their attendance. Carol Moreland, Executive Administrator.
Present.
Janelle Martin, Nursing Education Compliance Officer.
Present.
Michelle Brown, Education Secretary.
Present.
Public comment allows individuals to address the Education Committee about their concerns. However, the Kansas Open Meetings Act, which is now known as COMA, does not require the Education Committee to provide public comment or answer questions from individuals. Public comment will not be taken today because there is a possibility that the connection for this remote meeting may be lost over time, and the time for the meeting may not allow everyone who is present to comment. Additionally, we will not know what comments an individual may make, and we would want to provide notice to the public of our intent to discuss a particular matter so that public may listen and observe our discussion. However, representatives from each nursing program will be allowed 5 minutes total to provide feedback when the committee discusses site visit reports and curriculum change requests for their respective nursing programs. Because we are conducting this public meeting remotely by Zoom and YouTube, I state for the record the following information. On March 14th, 2022, the board sent notice of the meeting of the Education Committee to all individuals who have requested notice of the committee's meetings. Additionally, the notice and agenda were posted on the board's website, ksbn.kansas.gov. You may obtain a copy of the notice and agenda at the website or by sending an email to carolmoreland@ks.gov with the subject line request for the agenda, and the board staff will send it to you. The notice contains the internet links to access the meeting by Zoom and YouTube, and the notice also contains the Zoom telephone number to attend this meeting by telephone call. All of these electronic mediums allow the public to attend this meeting free of charge. The notice also advises individuals to contact the board's office at 785-296-2967 if they experience any technical issues during the meeting. The only mediums for interactive communication are Zoom and YouTube, as previously stated. Each member of the committee, board staff, or presenter shall state the person's name and title each time the person speaks or votes, as the case may be. Each participant to this meeting shall ensure microphones, phones, or other electronic devices are on mute. The motion will be clearly stated before the committee votes, and the chair will announce the results of the final vote. A statement or motion will clearly identify and authorize by delegation each member of the committee or staff who will be permitted to sign any document on behalf of the committee. The meeting is being recorded, and the recording will be posted to the board's website. The committee has the following items on its agenda: call to order, review of on-site packet, additions or revisions to agenda, announcements, approval of minutes for meeting held on December 2021, nursing education compliance officer report, executive session if needed, site visit reports, new business, unfinished business, petitions, agenda for the committee meeting in June 2022, and adjournment. The above list of agenda items includes an executive session. If the committee elects to exercise that option to go into executive session, the committee will follow this process. First, the committee must be in an open session before going into executive session. Then a motion will be made and seconded. Pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, the motion must contain the statement of justification for closure, the subject or subjects to be discussed, and the time and place that the meeting will resume. If a motion for executive session passes, public will be excluded from this portion of the meeting, as the executive session will be conducted by electronic means that will not be made available to the public. The committee members will return to the open meeting after the executive session. The open meeting will resume when committee members return to the Zoom and YouTube meeting after the executive session. The complete motion for an executive session will be recorded in the minutes. This meeting is now called to order, and the committee will now consider the next item on the agenda. I think the first thing is they have an on-site packet.
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Janelle Martin, Education Compliance Officer. We do have an on-site packet. My apologies. There is the major curriculum change from North Central Kansas Tech and Beloit. They had one on the agenda in December that we tabled, and it got to the agenda on the first draft and didn't make it to the second. So it is back in your packet in the on-site packet, but it is the one that they had in there from December. And then also at the back of that, after that, there's a 2-page, we are discussing the Ielts English proficiency test this morning. And I had done some additional research and some numbers for you all. And that was added to the on-site packet just as additional information to that agenda item.
Okay, I just wanted to draw your attention to that extra packet, that extra information for us. I'll move right on to additions or revisions to the agenda. Do we have some of those?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Janelle Martin, Education Compliance Officer again. Because we left that off, the major curriculum change for Beloit PN program, that will need to be added to the end of the major curriculum change. So it will be H under new business, major A, 8A. It will be H at the end of that. Also, I just wanted to bring to your attention under the major curriculum changes, University of Kansas graduate program is listed as F. It will actually be a two-part. There are actually two separate graduate requests, and I didn't get them on there as two separate, but they are both in your packet, one after the other.
We'll have two motions for that event instead of just one. So
right.
Any other
And then
additions? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Patsy. One other one we talked about was to switch A and B under the petitions. So we'll talk about B first and then A second.
Thank you for those additions and revisions. We have a correction we need to make, so we're going to do that first before we do the other piece that's there. Anything else we need to change on the agenda?
And I have a motion for amending the agenda and accepting the on-site packet.
That would be great. Thank you. We'll let you read that.
You want to do the on-site packet first?
That would be fine. Thank you.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the on-site packet as is.
This is Christina, member. I'll make that motion.
This is Amy. I will second.
A motion is a second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carries.
And then, oh, sorry.
That's okay. The next one's the agenda, correct?
Yes. Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the March 29th, 2022 Education Committee meeting agenda as revised.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the agenda.
I have a motion.
Watson, I'll second.
Thank you. A motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Michelle, you and I will get this all figured out. We'll get you rolling here, so no problem. The next thing on the agenda is, do we have any announcements? Carol, I think you have one.
Yes, Madam Chair, I do. This is Carol Moreland, the Executive Administrator. And I just want to make an announcement that we have a guest observing the Education Committee today. Her name is Elizabeth Daggett. Elizabeth is a reviewer for the U.S. Department of Education. I know you've heard a few times that how proud we are that we've been recognized as one of 5 boards of nursing in the nation that's recognized by the U.S. Department of Education as a nationally recognized state approval agency for nursing education. We have been recognized since 2007, but part of the process to continue to be recognized, hopefully, is to submit a renewal petition every 4 years. We submitted our renewal petition in January of this year. And the process, just to kind of let you know, is a little bit like the process that the nursing programs have to do to get reapproved for us, because we have to submit this renewal petition that includes documentation that we meet their criteria. And then part of the review process is to have a reviewer attend a meeting of the board and any subcommittee that has authority to make decisions regarding nursing education. And this is the reason that Elizabeth is observing the education committee today, and she'll be at the board meeting tomorrow. And then the next steps, she will be observing a site visit with Janelle later this year. Then she takes all of this information and she prepares a report. Sounds kind of familiar, right? Prepares a report. And then it's tentatively scheduled to be reviewed at the National Advisory Committee on Institutional Quality and Integrity at the winter 2024 meeting. So we just want to welcome Elizabeth to the committee today. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. The next thing we have on the agenda, and I see a note from Elizabeth. She says thank you. So the next thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes for December 14th, 2021. Those were in your packet. Did everyone have a chance to review that? I see Juliana has joined us, so welcome, Juliana. The next thing we have here is anything about the minutes that we need to correct, make any adjustments? If not, then we could have a motion for that, and I think Michelle has that to read.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the December 14th, 2021 Education Committee minutes as written.
This is Christina, member. I'll make that motion.
This is Dee Bonenblust, and I will second that motion.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carries. The next piece we have on the agenda is Nursing Education Compliance Officer Report. Janelle?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is Janelle Martin, Nursing Education Compliance Officer. It's off to a busy start this year, primarily with site visits, but we have had some changes with our nursing programs. We have 3 administrator changes I wanted to bring your attention to. Baker University has a new Dean of Nursing. Elizabeth Rosen has been named that, and she was interim starting back in October, but was named the Dean of Nursing on January 4th. Butler Community College also had a change effective February 1. Janet Schuller, who has been in this interim position before, but she is again acting as the interim Associate Dean of Nursing and Allied Health. And we've already been on a meeting with her, so trying to support her in that. Hutchinson Community College had a retirement. So Allison Casebolt has been named as the new administrator for the ADN nursing program there. So most of this quarter has already been taken up with site visits. We've already done 6 site visits that have been completed through March 11th. 4 of those visits were initial visits, so that's a little unusual for us. But so we have 4 new programs, either for existing programs for satellite or entirely new programs. All of the initial visits were done on site. We are continuing to offer that option for virtual and that's primarily for those we are doing in conjunction with accreditation. We do have some of the accreditation teams that are still doing their visits virtually. So we have had one virtual visit this spring. I believe, just wanted to bring your attention and to the petitioners. I know in the past we haven't talked much about it, but just a little update on those. We had 2 petitioners complete their conditions this quarter, 4 tested this quarter with 1 passing and 3 failing. And then we currently have 24 active petitioners. I think I just wanted to make that note. We hadn't talked about that in a while. Of note, our revisions are in process and I think primarily complete for our annual report survey for this year. So we're hoping to open that just a little sooner than we have in the past. Working with NCSBN, last year was our first year with them. We made a couple of slight changes, nothing major, mostly some attachment issues for documents, that kind of thing. So we will be sending out notice of that and doing probably a virtual orientation, or we may just send the orientation slides. I have those to go with the annual report and see how that goes. For those that have already done it, it's the same process. It's a little simpler, I believe, than it has been in the past. We are still waiting on, NCSBN is working on the core data for the pilot programs, which we were a part of. And so they are working on that. They did all the compilation for the COVID data that they gathered from those survey reports, and that report is out, but we are hoping for the analysis of all the pilot programs very soon. I think short and sweet this time. That's all I wanted to bring your attention to. The rest of the information for our other projects is in the report. If anyone has questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Any questions or clarification for Janelle? Okay, not hearing any, we'll move right on to the next piece, which is site visit reports. And the first one is NCKTC ADN program for Hayes.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We did do the Nck Tech Adn program. We actually did both the ADN and PN, but we did the ADN one in conjunction with ASIN back in October, end of October of 21. Christina Rudisell and I were the 2 visitors for that site visit. For that report, the strengths identified were the program does have a gateway program with Fort Hays State University, which provides many options and resources for their students. It was mentioned in many of the interviews by both administration and students that program has offered them many, many resources to expand their student services. They've had consistently good pass rates for Nclex. They offer the same student services on the campus at Beloit, which is their main campus. So Hayes is, for the nursing program, it's not really a satellite, but it's a separate program. Nursing courses are team taught. The students like the hands-on approach of the faculty when they are done this way. There are a good variety of clinical experiences, and we got good response from the clinical sites for these students. They offer and integrate many aspects of diversity into their program for the students. There's a strong financial commitment to their nursing scholarships, and they have a very strong support for the program from Hayes Med, who is practically next door to them. They hire a lot of their grads, and staff also serve as adjunct faculty and preceptors for the Nck Tech students. So there's a really great collaboration and partnership with that academic institution and that practice facility. Opportunities for improvement. The program is running pretty thin. There's been no administrative assistance support or limited, I should say, for the program. There is some on the campus. Many of the responsibilities for the program director could be handled by an assistant, which would free up the time for the administrator, who's handling a lot of responsibilities right now. This was an opportunity at the last visit as well. And we wanted to make note that the revised education regulations now include specific language stating the responsibility and oversight of the nursing program for the nursing director. Systematic program evaluation, not always easy to see how the course outcomes tie to the end of program student learning outcomes. They have a lot of data in there and just like to see a little more tie-in. An opportunity to move to online testing to help with Nclex readiness. Faculty has had those discussions, but it has not been accomplished at this point. They do have an opportunity to utilize the ATI package to help with that and would also help them with some test analysis. For students who have needs or need accommodation, just made a note to make sure all accommodations are documented through appropriate channels and followed by all faculty, just to make sure that integrity of that program stays consistent. The preceptor packet was well done. It would be helpful to have the orientation signed and dated by their preceptors, and also to make sure that there's a list of what courses the preceptor works with. Nursing resources in the building have many outdated books and materials. They use the library primarily at Fort Hays State. That's one of the resources provided by the Gateway program, but they do have a small library section in the building, but there were many outdated offerings. So just an opportunity to clean that up and remove those resources that are older than 5 years old and make sure that's clearly disclosed to students, that unless they have historical significance, that they should be taken off the shelves. The recommendations that I was suggesting are that the preceptor materials to add a place for the course number and a signature and orientation date for the current preceptor form, and to submit that to the Education Compliance Officer by June 30th of this year, and then recommend reapproval of the ADN program for a time period consistent with national accreditation.
Any questions for Janelle with that site visit? Hearing none, Michelle, I'll let you read our motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the site visit report for North Central Kansas Technical College, Hays, ADN program with recommendations and reapprove the ADN program for a time period of national accreditation.
This is Andrea Watson. I'll make the motion.
It's Michelle Berdishaw, second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Next one is NCKTC Hays PN program.
Yes, same time frame, same visitors. Christina Rudisell and I did this for the PN program. Let's see. The strengths identified are very consistent with what we just read for the ADN program. I don't think that there was anything, I think they were actually identified as pretty much all the same, because the same faculty, there are different faculty for ADN and PN, but a lot of the resources and support issues are the same. So for the strengths, I'd say, I'm just going to say we've already read those, and they are consistent with what we just had for the ADN program. The opportunities for improvement, administrative staff support was still an issue. Again, the curriculum outcomes, the course outcomes mapped to the end of program outcomes would be helpful. The online testing readiness for Nclex would be helpful. I think, again, one of the only opportunities that's different here is that we were looking at preceptor regulations. In the regulation right now for KSBN, there are no regulations that apply to preceptors for the PN program. So this is one program, we've had this come up where they are currently using preceptors. And so maybe to reconsider the use of preceptors at this PN level, since the regulations don't speak to it directly as they do for the RN level program. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. And then again, the last one is on the library resources to make sure those are current. So in terms of recommendations, what I have is for the preceptor materials, again, if those are being utilized, that there should be a space for orientation signature from those and know what courses that preceptor is being utilized for, and would recommend the reapproval of the program for a period of 5 years. Unless there are any other questions, that's how the report stands.
Any questions for clarification? Just one piece here about the preceptors. I was not helping with this group when those regulations were first initially written, but I understand the interpretation was it was a purposeful event, not something that was just forgotten or left off of that. So not saying we can't address it at some time or another, but I don't think it was a mishap on the persons who set that regs in place at the very beginning. So any other discussion, any questions for Janelle? Okay, Michelle, I'll let you read a motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the site visit report for North Central Kansas Technical College Hayes PN program with recommendations and reapprove the PN program for 5 years.
This is Juliana, board member, and I will make that motion.
This is Amy Hyde. I will second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next one is Newman University.
Yes, Newman University, this was for their nurse anesthesia program. We did this in conjunction with COA, which is their national accrediting organization for RNA programs. Amy Height and I did that visit back in November of 21. We did that as a virtual visit per COA's request and the school's request. Strengths for the program was very, very organized, and the program director also there's a lot that the two faculty do to cover a lot of issues for that program, or not issues, but just for the program itself. And they keep everything going pretty steady. Their faculty, many kudos from the students. They're handling a lot. They're in the process of changing from an MSN to a DNP program, which is part of what the national accreditation is looking for them to do in the next couple of years. So their faculty is handling a lot. They get many kudos from their students, their clinical coordinators, their clinical sites and administration for the work that they do. The students that go to school there do for very specific reasons, and they highly recommend the program. They like the smaller class size, and a very good variety of clinical sites was mentioned several times. They have very low attrition and high pass rates on their national exams. Opportunities, this is again has to do with administration and faculty support for the department as what they're doing. Again, they're handling a lot with just the 2 or 2.5 people that are in their department, and the sustainability of that is probably not going to stay for very long for that program. So especially with that change to the DNAP from their MSN level, they need to add additional faculty and get some administrative help so that they don't lose their current faculty. Clinical coordinators and preceptors, just make sure there's an updated list with current license verification, and add orientation to the role of the preceptor form. They do this, it just wasn't quite as well documented as we'd like to see that. So just a couple additional things to help that stay more updated. Addressing the KSA 651120 information, which is on the possible licensure denial. We just ask that they have that, it's addressed at the BSN level, but not the APRN level. So just to make sure that's also added in that process. Some of the syllabi, and it was the non-anesthesia courses, did not have all the required information in terms of credit hours and clock hours and policies. So maybe to address that with the non-nurse anesthesia courses. Recommendations, or to get the KSA 651120 information on the pre-admission material and to make it sure it's consistent in all places on the website. Revise and send to the KSBN Education Compliance Officer by June 30 of this year. Add the orientation to the preceptor form and a place for a signature and date of completion. Update that form and submit to the compliance officer by June 30th. Also, to identify all places where accreditation and approvals are designated on the website and in documents and make sure they're consistent for KSBN approval and national accreditation, and to submit those changes to KSBN by June 30th as well. Those three things, we also recommend reapproval of the RNA program for the time period consistent with national COA accreditation. Any questions regarding that report?
Hearing none, we have another motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the site visit report for Newman University RNA graduate program with recommendations and pre-approve the RNA graduate program for a time period of national accreditation.
Madam Chair, this is Dee Bonenblust, and I so move.
This is Christina, and I will second.
The motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Colby Community College.
Thank you. This is the last of our visits from last fall. We did Colby Community College PN program and on November 17th and 18th. This is a KSBN approved only program. Rebecca Sander and I, board member, and I were the visitors for that site visit. Strengths identified. There's very strong administrative support for this program. They have new administrative team members that seem to have an understanding of the nursing program and are very supportive of the director and the faculty. Students really like the smaller class size and the attention they get from faculty. They have a preceptor at one of their sites that is very helpful and committed to student learning. She was mentioned by, I think she's been a former faculty or serves as an adjunct faculty at this particular site. And they mentioned her several times. They liked the admission process. They felt it was fast and the admission folks were very helpful. Those who had transfer credits said it went very smoothly. And they feel like the instructor experience they get at the clinical sites is a strength. Having a satellite in Norton is a draw for the program, and the clinical sites there are very solid. The students are all very complimentary of that site as well. Program evaluation schedule to ensure all aspects of the program are evaluated on an annual basis and have the data and are linked to the program outcomes. And those have also been linked to course objectives, and that shows the threads through the curriculum. There's been some work done on that. It was very nicely presented. Creative and good relationship with the general education faculty, especially for the focus on the updated curriculum for general education that focuses on essential skills with students. And they are working on that to begin that curriculum beginning fall of 2022. They have an early alert system that helps with the success for their students, and that happens within their general education courses. So anybody having issues, the nursing faculty are also included in that, so they can be involved there as well. The nursing student development plans are done for anyone who has an early alert, and that happens when they have anything below a 78% on any aspect of their nursing education. So it really gets on top of the those that might have any struggles. There was a new DON appointed, Michelle Bliss, in May of 2021, is doing very well in getting things organized and running smoothly. Self-studies showed involvement by the entire PN faculty and team and was very thorough, and they have strong Nclex pass rates for the PN program. A couple of opportunities for improvement. consistency of the nursing program information between the website and catalog and other printed materials, and make sure all references to KSBN are for approved and not accredited. Clarify job descriptions for the DON and full and part-time faculty, making sure it defines and clarifies the qualification requirements for KSBN, such as BSN required and or an ADN on a degree plan can be considered for PN faculty. And also any references keeping KSBN approval and not accredited here as well within the job descriptions. This is another place where reevaluate the use of preceptors at the PN level, as the Kansas Nurse Practice Act does not address preceptors at the PN level. And I guess this kind of goes hand in hand with currently have preceptor roles and responsibilities, would need to clarify that preceptor feedback is feedback and not evaluation. Tighten up the faculty minutes, make reports more bulleted and easy to identify where the actions are, that especially as they relate to the evaluation plan. So the recommendations noted are to submit the updated job descriptions for the DON and the PN faculty, and submit to the Education Compliance Officer by 6/30/22. To make sure all the nursing pages on the website catalogs and materials say approval and not accredited, and submit those updated website links to the Education Compliance Officer by June 30th, and recommend reapproval of the program for a period of 5 years.
Any questions for Janelle? I guess we're ready for another motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the site visit report for Colby Community College PN program with recommendations and reapprove the PN program for a time period of 5 years.
This is Juliana, board member, and I'd make that motion.
This is Michelle British. I second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. WSU Tech initial visit for ADN program.
Yes, as you recall, back in December, WSU Tech brought us initial program application to have an ADN program at their campus of Applied Sciences and Technology site. They did request to have that, and a site visit was asked for by the board, and we did go ahead and schedule that. That was done February 2nd and 3rd. And we did do that on site. This is for a traditional ADN program. The current plan is to approve students for a 2-year ADN program. Christina Rudisell and I were the program site visitors. And in doing that review, there are a lot of strengths for this program. President Sherry Utash also serves as the VP for Workforce Development for WSU. She also has a lot of history of community building and very committed to the development of healthcare and IT in the immediate future for WSU Tech. And I know there's been a lot of work by her and some of her other administrative folks. They've worked on trying to get some type of ADN program connection for several years. So now they're to the solution of bringing it to their own campus, and have committed a lot of time and energy and thought into how this can be done. They've committed budgetary funds to ensure the program is fully supported regardless of future grant approval. There are some grant funds being used in the initial budget. They have a solid LPN program, students consistently requesting an ADN program. They got really great response on their clinical partnerships in terms of clinical contracts that are already signed. They're working on developing a shocker pathway transfer program that would allow ADNs to have a seamless transfer to the BSN program if they would choose to do that. They're student focused, ensuring that they can start here and go anywhere. So they're really focused on that articulation process. Clinical facilities are committed to supporting an ADN program for WSU Tech. We got a lot of that from the clinical sites, that they are glad to see that level of program to get nurses, I think, educated and out in the community. Current faculty are committed to assisting the new faculty as they are hired. Current faculty was very involved in building the ADN curriculum, and so have a really good understanding of it. And general education works very closely with the PN faculty in adjusting curriculum to meet the needs of the ADN program. So there's a lot of support work that's being done. Opportunities we found is maybe to delineate in their admission process, to delineate what ACT or SAT score must be acquired to substitute for the TSET. It wasn't clear on the admission criteria. It will just help them in the future to make sure that's delineated so students can tell that right off the bat. Recommendation, at the time of the visit, the current dean for the LPN program is also covering that for the ADN program, and will until a new person is hired. And they have some commitment or some folks that are interested in faculty. At the time that we were there, they had not been able to hire one. So we just, in the recommendations, attaining a full-time faculty prior to admission of students for fall of 2022, and recommend that WSU Tech be allowed to admit 20 students annually to an ADN program beginning fall of 22, with a site visit to occur after the first graduation, which would be fall of 24. Any questions?
Hearing none. Michelle, will you please read a motion?
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the initial site visit report for Wichita State University campus of Applied Science and Technology for a new ADN program with recommendations, and approve to admit 20 students annually beginning fall of 22, with a site visit to occur after the first graduation of fall of 2024.
This is
This
Andrea
is Amy
Watson. I'll
Hyde. I
make the
so
motion.
move.
Andrea,
This is Amy. I'll second.
thank you. So Andrea made the first motion and Amy second. So any other discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Next one is WSU initial visit for a KSU satellite campus.
Yes, this is a very unique opportunity. We had this actually come to us in 2019 when Vansala was the program director for WSU. Deborah Pyle is now the director at that program, and she's the one who is responsible for getting us to this site visit. Wichita State University has asked to have a satellite campus for their BSN program on the campus at Kansas State University in Manhattan. And so that's where we did this site visit. There's been a lot of involvement by both the KSU faculty and administration, as well as the WSU folks, because the program will basically be a dual degree program for the students that are admitted. Only students that are coming from that K-State background will be admitted to this campus. And that was a very specific ask on their part, or request on their part. So just really wanted to say that they're, in terms of strengths, a very strong support with the collaboration between KSU and WSU administration and services. It's just a very unique collaboration, and they've done a really good job of thinking through everything, and having the support from both sides there at the meeting was a really great experience, and a very, very supportive environment. The planning and organization from all levels, the student support, faculty, student services, the presidents and provosts have all been very involved and have planned for this very well. Students are very excited that the WSU nursing program will be offered at KSU. They're clearly educated on the facts about the WSU program and know its merits. And they have researched it and are really glad that it's being brought to their campus. Because all the support for the nursing program will come from Wichita State, but there will still be a lot of student support service and other support that will come from the K-State campus as well. Clinical sites available and are excited to offer this clinical to the satellite program. They're in the Manhattan area. The budget allowed for the support of the nursing program. There's been a lot of thought put into that. WSU and KSU staff have worked closely with each other to learn about each other's processes and procedures. They've had monthly meetings with their counterparts affected by the nursing program. So they've really done a good job of educating each other how it's going to work to make it as seamless as possible for the students. They hired a nursing program coordinator for the satellite facility, and this position is going to be housed on the KSU campus. So even though there will be some faculty that will be working with both campuses, eventually they would like to have faculty that will be specific to the KSU campus. And so they already have a program coordinator there who is a nursing person who will also be spending part of her time as faculty on the KSU campus. Great student support at both the KSU and WSU from both sides of that. Students benefit considerably since they have access to all those services from both sides and both programs. So great general education opportunities there as well. One of the opportunities is just to have a little more collaboration. They have great library resources from the WSU side. Don't know that they will need a lot of extra support from the KSU side, but maybe a little more understanding between the two librarians on the resources that are available in case KSU students do come into that library and ask for some support. They can get it all through the website, but maybe just a little coordination on their part, they could even expand those resources a little bit more for them. Recommendation, we recommending approval of the satellite campus for the WSU BSN nursing program with the admission of 20 students for the fall 2022 and semi-annually thereafter, which would be 40 for the academic year, which is how their current program works as well. And with a follow-up visit for the satellite campus to occur with the next planned visit for the current WSU nursing program. Any questions? And I apologize, Christina Rudisell was the other site visitor on that one with me.
Any questions or clarification for Janelle? And I guess we're ready for a motion, Michelle.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the initial site visit report for Wichita State University BSN program satellite program in KSU campus in Manhattan, Kansas, approving them to admit 20 students for fall of 2022 and semi-annually thereafter, 40 students per academic year, with a follow-up visit for the satellite campus to occur with the next planned site visit for the current Wichita State University BSN program.
This is Michelle Bernashal. I'll motion.
This is
Andrea
Juliana.
Watson.
Sorry, go ahead, Andrea.
Andrea Watson, I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I would just like to offer my congratulations and support for the partnership of these two universities and coming together with this unique collaboration. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, kind of new territory for us. Janelle, do you happen to know when the next BSN, WSU BSN visit is scheduled?
It's actually scheduled next fall. So
Okay.
I think that I'm not sure how CCNE will handle looking at that, but just thought they will be admitting in the fall. I don't know that we necessarily need to do another site visit to the campus, but just to see how things have gotten started, could at least do an update. But I didn't realize that when we first talked about that they were already going to have that in the fall.
Our motion specific follow-up visit though with that next visit. So that would be.
We could do that, or we could just, I mean, I usually that's how we handle it. And with the next one, we could also do a virtual visit with that campus pretty easily as part of that, just to do a checkup on at least how they were admitted and how the process is going. Unless there would be a suggestion for one at a later time separate from that to allow them time to get started. I mean, that was just the usual way to handle that. So with that being said, that could be.
I wasn't suggesting a change in the setup. I just wondered when that was at. Any other discussion? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. NCK Beloit initial visit for ADN program.
Yes, so we did again, this was one that was brought in December, initial application for an ADN program. This is planned as a 1+1 program. North Central Kansas Tech and Beloit currently has a PN program. Rebecca Sander, a board member, and I did this visit in February. What we found there, strengths, there's a lot of commitment, the nursing program leadership and commitment. They have very strong support for faculty and students. The faculty are also very excited about the possibility of doing this ADN program as well. They're committed with the budget and the resources to broaden the nursing program at the Beloit campus. Clinical sites are supportive and very supportive of the expansion to the RN level, very complimentary of the current leadership for the nursing program and feel the expansion would be successful. Students are very excited. We had the entire current PN class there talking about how they would like, most, I think all but one was committed to going on if this becomes a reality for them. Highly complimentary of the current faculty and clinical site support that they get. Relationships with the current faculty and director with the community and with the clinical sites. You can tell they've worked very hard to make those connections and to keep those clinical sites supported. And they're very complimentary of the faculty that come with the students. Curriculum plan for use is already KSBN approved and vetted ADN level curriculum. They plan to use the same curriculum for their ADN program that the Hayes campus uses for theirs. Their local hospital, MCHHS, has clinical opportunities at the ADN level and is local for students, not as much driving as some of the other sites. And so it's a very, and although it's a critical access hospital, it really has a lot of services and higher level patients that would do well for ADN clinical support. Opportunities, clarify the admission requirements for the ADN level, list all the required steps and clearly differentiate it from the PN requirements. It was a little unclear at certain points. So just to clarify that, they had everything there just to kind of make it more clear which belonged to which program. Consider how mentoring would occur for the ADN faculty and how current PN faculty can be part of an onboarding process for new faculty to help them better understand the PN curriculum and what those strengths are and support for the RN level students. Clinical site with school nurse, make sure that clinical site can clearly meet their objectives they have. If the students with an RN and not an LPN. Some of the school sites around there do have LPNs that work in the schools under the oversight of an RN. So they just need to make sure that their opportunities are with the RN and not at the LPN level. Faculty development and training for a new high fidelity simulation, or I should have said simulator there. They are working on getting that and an opportunity for some training for those folks to utilize that. It will be a great asset to them once they have that in-house. Recommendations that recommend that the Nck Tech Beloit for an ADN level program, a 1+1, with the initial admission of 15 ADN level students beginning fall of 2022, with a follow-up site visit after the first graduation and before requesting any additional ADN level students. Just might mention, in the original application, it had a leveling process for the adding students. And we talked about that at the site visit, that there would be an initial approval for a number of students and that there would have to be a follow-up site visit before any additional students were requested. Any questions?
Hearing none. Michelle, we have another motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the initial site visit report for North Central Kansas Technical College Beloit for a new LPN to ADN 1+1 program, approving the initial admission of 15 ADN level students beginning fall of 2022, annually thereafter, with a follow-up site visit to occur after the first graduation, spring of 2024, and before requesting additional ADN students.
Madam
This is
Chair,
Christina. I will make that motion.
and this is Dee Bonnebless, and I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. The last one we have on this list is Mid-America Nursing and Allied Health Institute, initial PN program.
Yes, so we have, this is a new institution for us, Mid-America Nursing and Allied Health Institute. They currently have other allied health programs, CNA, CMA, some other, a couple of other technology related programs, and they are requesting to begin a practical nursing program. This is a privately run institution. Dee Bonnebless and I were the site visitors for this initial site visit for them. What we found, strengths, there is very strong support from their clinical facilities that they currently work with. They have several facilities that are kind of exclusive to them, that they don't have a lot of competition for, and they've been able to work with them with their other programs. And the clinical sites are very excited about getting to work with a nursing program as well. Very, very avid and strong support from current students and their other programs. With the addition of this, they speak very highly of the faculty and support staff, and they're excited about the opportunity to be able to get into a PN nursing program. They are very excited too about the support and attention they receive while they're in their courses. They feel like they're very well supported, even though it's a small number of folks gathered around them. They have a very dedicated faculty and staff for their current programs. President Susan Amari is very dedicated to building nursing workforce in the KC area, has done a lot of work with the other programs that she's worked with to get those clinical support services or clinical support sites for those services as well, and continues to reach out to other clinical sites as well. A couple of opportunities to continue to research clinical experiences for maternal child. They have a couple in mind, and they just need to get those clarified. Some very good opportunities if they can get those contracts signed. Contract with additional faculty to support the 1-to-10 ratio in clinical courses, and continue to research opportunities for student financial support scholarships for PN. They have a good start. They work with the Kansas Workforce and Catholic Charities. As a private institution, they don't have some of the other federal aid that some other programs might have, but the students stated that they felt they have good resources and can commit to doing this. And so the opportunity is just to help in that, and they are currently trying to do that. So the recommendations we have, one of the things we did look at curriculum and syllabi. They have 4 modules to their program in the way that the program is set up, and they had detailed syllabi for the first module and some for the second. And so one of the recommendations was they would need to complete the detailed syllabi for the modules 2 through 4 and have to me by May 1st. I already have those. Those are all completed, and those were received and reviewed. I think it's been about a week and a half ago. So those are already complete. The addition of the KSA 651120 information in their informational brochure and website to assure that that information gets to students prior to admission, and to submit that evidence to the compliance officer by May 1st. And then to recommend approval for the Mid-American Nursing and Allied Health Institute to begin a PN program in August of 2022 with the admission of 20 students to each of 3 cohorts. So they have 3 cohorts planned, a day program, an evening, and a weekend. So that would be a total of 60 students annually, with a follow-up site visit after the first graduation of those cohorts to complete the initial approval process. And before, again, this is back to that, not adding more students until they've had that first follow-up visit, and then to request any additional students. They have a plan for adding, but for the initial process, we recommend the approval of these 60 students, 20 to each cohort, until a site visit after the first graduation is complete. Any questions? And I know we do have, all these administrators have been on for us if we have any questions of them.
Any questions for Janelle? Then Michelle, I'll let you read that motion. Thank you.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the initial site visit report with recommendations for Mid-America Nursing and Allied Health Institute to begin a PN program and admit 60 students annually, 20 students to each of 3 cohorts for day, evening, and weekend, beginning August 2022, and to have a follow-up visit after the first graduation in fall of 2023.
This is Michelle Burdishaw. I approve.
This is
This is
Christina.
Juliana, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. I'm going to keep marching through the agenda. Would it be all right if we do some more things and probably take a break about 10 o'clock? Will that be fine with everyone? Yes? Okay. Major curriculum change request. NCKTC Hayes PN.
And Colton, we have Sherry Stone and Melissa Crump. We should be able to move both of those to do the presentation for this.
They should be on the way.
Okay. This, and the request, yes, is for adding IV therapy to the PN level of Nck Tech Hayes program.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
You want to tell us a little bit about this request?
Yes, this is Sherry. Our request is asking for, at the PN level, to add IV certification to the PN level of the program, so that we can have everybody IV certified by the time they graduate. And we're looking to start that in fall of 2022, obviously this coming August. We will still have our standalone program as well, but we will also want to add it to our PN program. So till we get everybody IV certified for industry standards.
Any questions for Sherry? Hearing none, Michelle, I'll let you read that motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from North Central Kansas Technical College Hayes PN program to add IV therapy to the PN program beginning fall of 2022.
This is Dee Bonenblust, and I make that motion, please.
This is Michelle Berdashaw, second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. That wasn't too hard, was it, Sherry?
No, it wasn't. And thank you. I want to also introduce Brenda Orr. She is first year coordinator, and she is going to be, she helps me in summer with IV cert. So we're working together on working that process through. So thank you, Janelle and Patsy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move right on to the next one, which is Manhattan Area Technical College PN program.
And Colton, we need Kim Davis for this one. There she is.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hello. Kim, I'll let you tell us a little bit about your request for your curriculum change.
Yes. We have turned in a minor curriculum change to go with the core. And in addition to that, we are requesting to add, just like Sherry talked about, adding the IV therapy to our PN course, implementing it into the core starting fall of 2022. So there again, to get our students IV certified. We will still have our standalone class, but that will, like Sherry talked about, it's really a huge request from industry.
Any questions for Kim? Hearing none, Michelle, I'll let you read another motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from Manhattan Area Technical College PN program to incorporate IV therapy into the PN curriculum beginning fall of 2022.
This is Amy. I so move.
This is Andrea. I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Kim.
Next one we have listed is Benedictine College BSN program.
Yes.
We have
Colton,
two of those.
Right. We need Jackie Harris for the next two.
Okay.
All right, hello, thank you. The first one I think we have is our revised program mission statement. And we are working on updating our curriculum. We have a 3-year kind of plan to do this. And we wanted to start with revising our mission statement.
Any questions? Do you go by Jackie or Jacqueline?
I go by Jackie.
Jackie, okay. Any questions for Jackie? Okay, Michelle, I guess you could read that motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from Benedictine College BSN program revise the nursing program mission statement.
This is Michelle Berdishaw. I motion to approve.
And this is Dee Bonnebliss. I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries.
Right. Thank
Okay,
you.
Jackie, the next one.
Okay, so the next item I have is a revised current course into 2 new courses. So we have our capstone and synthesis course that is combined. We would like to separate those into 2 new courses and to also increase our capstone hours. We currently have 90 hours for our capstone, and we would like to increase that to 135 hours.
Some questions for Jackie? Hearing none, Michelle, I'll let you read that motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from Benedictine College BSN program to revise a current course NURS 4930 synthesis practicum into 2 courses NURS 4900 synthesis, 1 credit hour didactic course, and NURS 4910 capstone clinical 2 credit hour and increase clinical clock hours from 90 to 135 hours.
This is Juliana, and I'll make that motion.
This is Christina. I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposed say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thanks, Jackie.
Colby Community College ADN program.
Colton, I believe we have 2 separate, we need Michelle Bliss, and I believe she also requested Ricky Waite to be on with her for this change request.
There's Michelle.
Morning.
Ricky's.
Morning.
Yeah, Ricky's down there. I don't know if she has her video on.
Okay. Okay, here she is. Yeah, I just hate it whenever I first get up there and see my picture on the Zoom. I'm like, oh boy, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Michelle.
Okay.
We'll let you go ahead and tell us a little bit about this request.
Okay. So we are requesting several things kind of within this same request. The main kind of things is we want to change the course numbers because it doesn't reflect truly how those courses are taught. They're actually taught in the summer before students go into the ADN program, but the way they're numbered now, there's like numbered 250. So it almost looks like those courses are taught at the end instead of the beginning. And so we want to change those courses to like 201, 202, and 203, so that students know that those, if they're respiratory therapist or a paramedic, those would be the first courses they take before they get into the regular courses. And so with that, then we would also have to change NS 200, Nursing Care of Adult 3, the NS 205, just to keep that sequencing where it needs to be. And the other thing that we would like to do is make the transition course hybrid, so that reduces our travel time for our students. We've had several students that have been interested, but once they realize that they have to travel quite a bit, we've lost that transition from paramedic to RN.
And then also with that, we want to decrease the hours of those transition courses because a lot of the things that we're teaching in those transition courses, they either have that knowledge, like pain management or care of a patient, they have that knowledge. So a lot of times we're repeating what they already know, or within that first course of adult 3, they're getting that same education. So we feel like we're kind of doubling up a lot of things when we're teaching those transition courses.
Ricky, anything else? Okay.
I don't think so. It does seem really repetitive, which is kind of why we're just decreasing those hours. And with those transition students, we take the paramedic students, and we take respiratory therapy students. And so every class is different. And so it's kind of a lot of the times you have to evaluate what they know before you can even start a class for that group, because they all have a vast variety of different things they know. So it always does we always kind of get into that repetitive thing. So mostly to decreasing the hours.
Okay, any questions for Michelle or Ricky? Okay, then I guess we're ready for a motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from Colby Community College ADN program to change course numbering and decrease credit hours for current RRT MICT to ADN transition course NS 250 transitions 2 credit hour, NS 251 articulation concepts 2 credit hour, and NS 252 concepts of care 4 credit hour to NS 201 1 credit hour, NS 202 1 credit hour, and NS 203 2 credit hour, respectively, and to change these courses from face-to-face to a hybrid methodology. In keeping with this new continuity, to also approve a change in course number of NS 200 nursing care of adults 3 to NS 205.
This is Christina. I'll make that motion.
This is Michelle Burdishaw. I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one, University of Kansas Graduate Program. We have 2 motions for that group, right?
Right. Yes, we do. And I think Dr. Cynthia Teal is going to be presenting both of those.
Okay.
Well, good
There she
morning.
is.
Good morning.
We have two pieces for you. You want to tell us about the first one we have here?
Absolutely, with the DNP project.
Yes.
Yeah. So our first request is we are wanting to change the process for how we do DNP project. And we have used an approach where students enroll in one course with 2 faculty, and they repeat enrollment in that course with the 2 faculty throughout their project. And then when they complete the project, they earn a grade for all of those credit hours they've taken with those 2 faculty. That was a pretty good approach at the beginning while we were all learning more about DNP project, but it also brought with it a few challenges of people kind of getting lost along the way and not progressing in a timely manner through the project. So we're proposing changing to a 3-course sequence, which many other programs in the country already are using. And students would enroll in one course to get their project written, and then a project proposal development, and then a second course on project implementation, and a third course on project evaluation and dissemination. So the planned sequence would take place over a year with allowances for the occasional student who might not be able to finish each course in a timely fashion, but most students will, and most students then will just move from one to first, second, and third course and then be done with the project in a year. So that's our first request.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions for Cynthia? I guess it's Dr. Teal, sorry.
Cindy's just fine.
Any other questions that you have or clarification? Hearing none, I'll let Michelle read that first motion that we have.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from University of Kansas Graduate Program to change the DNP program final project course sequence from one multi-semester course in RSG 980 Doctor of Nursing Practice Project 6 credit hour to 3-course sequence with new courses in RSG 981 DNP Project Proposal Development 2 credit hour, in RSG 982 DNP Project Implementation Practicum 3 credit hour, and in RSG 983 DNP Project Evaluation and Dissemination 1 credit hour.
This is Michelle Berdishaw. Motion.
This is Amy. I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 Opposed say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries.
Thank you.
The next one was about your nurse midwifery.
Next one is about the midwifery. And our midwifery program is offered at the doctoral level, so it's one of the DNP specialties. And it is accredited by CCNE, which accredits all of our programs. And it's also accredited by ACME, the Accreditation Commission for Midwifery Education. So ACME recently released revisions to their core competencies, which necessitated our program to review all of the courses that we offer for how we could maintain compliance with ACME guidelines. And so we went very carefully. Dr. Kara Busenhard, who's program director for midwifery, and the midwifery faculty went through the courses in the program to see exactly what changes were needed and where. And in some cases, we needed to add some new courses. Other cases, we revised our current courses. When all was said and done, the program hours are the same, but there are revisions in the new guidelines that will ensure that all of the core competencies are met for the midwifery specialty. And for example, one of the main changes was to move away from language that focused only on women, and as was acceptable in the past in midwifery specialties, and use more inclusive language to focus on person, recognizing that there can be a lot of different groupings of families who welcome newborns, and not just a traditional male-female single unit dyad. So the course changes reflect that. It also reflects the addition of a focus on professional issues unique to midwifery specialties that are in addition to other DNP professionalism issues they learn about in the other courses. So a brief summary of lots of detailed offered in the documents, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Dr. Teal? Hearing none, I'll let Michelle read another motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from University of Kansas DNP Graduate Program for nurse midwifery to change program didactic and practicum courses as outlined in March 2022 Education Committee packet.
This is Christina on that motion.
This is Juliana, and I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Teal.
With the committee's permission, we have two more under major curriculum change requests. Let's finish those and then we'll take a break. So the next one is University of St. Mary's BSN program.
That would be me. So I have, looks like I put these, the proposals all on one major curriculum change as we were looking at our curriculum overall. Our university recently went through Gen Ed revision, and that triggered us to see how we may make some changes within our program. So goal is to get closer to the 120 overall credits for a baccalaureate degree. And so with nursing, we're typically pretty high, and we have historically been up to 128 credits, and then we're able to move down to 125 credits overall. So as we looked at a few things, one of the first things I'll mention is, we typically accept accelerated students into our program that have the prior bachelor's degree. And what we did is we're looking through a number of our students that are really high achievers that we believe could actually process through an accelerated program once they have completed all of their major gen eds. And so we'd like to create a path to where the traditional student can actually enter into the accelerated nursing track without having a prior bachelor's degree. And with that, we are looking to hopefully be able to increase the number of students that we take every year. Currently, we're accepted to take 74, and we would like to move to 100 admissions per annually. We do have partnerships with Prime Hospital, and have recently been, having discussions with them to increase our clinical experiences over to St. Joseph's Medical Center on the Kansas City, Missouri side, as well as St. Mary, where we've in Missouri, where we have not typically been. And so I believe that we'll be able to manage and provide clinical spots for all of our students as we've advanced that partnership. And then that brings us to our curriculum change for nursing. We look to remove a number of courses such as, and with that, to combine some of our courses to streamline our curriculum. One of the first changes would be our Foundations of Nursing, which has historically had an idea seminar, which was required by the gen eds of the university. If we remove those concepts, which are mainly APA and writing and speaking to more gen ed requirements, which are no longer required, we will have more opportunity to bring in health promotion concepts, which have historically been in our wellness course. And so one of the classes we were removing is wellness, and then combining those concepts into our Foundations of Nursing course. One error I did notice on what was submitted is that I had that as a 4-hour course, and it's actually a 5 credit hour course. The other change is to combine our gerontology and palliative care courses into one course, as a lot of those concepts overlap. And we also, we'll make that like an online opportunity is what we are looking at to do. Because with the pandemic, we realized that many students did well in that type of a course. The other change to our curriculum would be to combine our senior capstone and senior seminar courses. Our senior seminar course had many of the same overlapping concepts that our leadership, our course does. And with that, if we created our senior capstone course, we would be able to give dedicated didactic time to ATI work that our students do and keep our clinical separate with maintaining that 3 credit hours of clinical and 135 clinical hours for capstone. And then moving our informatics content throughout our curriculum, which we already do, as opposed to a dedicated course. So I think that summarizes the changes that we were proposing.
Any questions for Michelle? Hearing none, I'll let Michelle Brown give us that motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from University of St. Mary BSN program to first initiate an accelerated BSN program track for traditional students. Already have accelerated track for those with previous bachelor's degree. Second, update BSN courses to better match university credit hour requirements. Will decrease from 127 credit hours to 121 credit hours for the BSN program. And 3, increase admissions from 74 to 100 students annually to allow for additional BSN students in the accelerated track.
This is Juliana, and I will make that motion.
This is Christina. I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question for clarity, please. Michelle, you had mentioned, Michelle Burdishaw, you had mentioned that you noticed a typo.
Is in our foundations course, sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Is the number 127 to 121, is that correct?
The overall number is 123 is where we got down to. And so
do we need to revise that? Do we need to revise that motion then?
Yes, please.
So it was decreased from 127 to 123?
Correct.
Is that the correct?
So on page 383, it was saying the graduation credits would be 121. So that's where that came from, just so for clarity. So yes, we can change the motion to be 123.
So whoever made that motion, Michelle, was that Amy?
Juliana.
Oh, Juliana, sorry.
That was me, and I'll amend the motion.
Okay. And a second to that amendment.
I'll second the moving from 121 to 123.
Okay, thank you. Now, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
I'll abstain.
Thank you, Michelle. And one abstention. That motion carries. And the one we added to our new business major curriculum change request was Nck Adn in Hayes.
In Beloit. This is the Beloit one. That's all right. So we'll need Melissa Crump back on our panel.
Okay.
And Melissa, is it just you? Do we need to put anybody else up?
Yeah, it's just us. So I have the president, Eric Burks, and I have Jen Brown. She's our Dean of Instruction with me.
Okay, thanks.
Our request was tabled last time because we wanted to wait for a couple other approvals. So you guys have had this in your prior packet and in this one. So since we've made the addition of the second year, we are also wanting to change our first year so that we match our Hayes campus completely. And so that's what this request is asking for. It is already an approved program, and we are wanting to continue IB therapy within it as approved earlier with the first one. So I don't have a whole lot of details. There is a lot of changes in there, but that's essentially why we're making all these different changes with our courses.
Thank you, Melissa. Does anyone have any questions or need some clarification? Hearing none, I'll let Michelle read the motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the major curriculum change request from North Central Kansas Technical College Beloit PN program to revise the PN program to include IV therapy at the PN level and to better coordinate with the new ADN 1+1 program at Beloit. The ADN level is planning to utilize the approved curriculum from North Central Kansas Tech Hayes ADN program.
Madam Chair, this is Dee Bonenblest, and I move to accept the motion.
This is Michelle Burdishaw, second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay, as promised, you didn't think I was really going to get to it, but as promised, let's take a break. And how about if we meet back here at 10:30? That's a little bit over 15 minutes. Back at 10:30. Thank you. Okay, Colton, it's 10:30. Are we ready to start back again?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll come back together to resume the meeting, and we'll start with new business, Berkeley College BSN program application.
Yes, Colton, we need Kim Hansen, please. Kim.
Morning.
Hi.
It is so thin here.
Tell us who you have with you.
This is Sherry Ward. She is a faculty member here for Berkeley College.
Okay, we're going to let you talk a little bit about this application.
Okay. Well, thank you for meeting with us today. Berkeley College is a small private Christian institution located in Southwest Kansas. Due to numerous requests from local healthcare facilities and community members, a task force was formed in 2019 to determine the viability of a BSN program here in Southwest Kansas. The task force concluded that there is a need for a BSN program, and to date, the internal and external stakeholders have raised over $1 million towards the development of this program. Today, we are requesting to move forward in the approval process for the BSN program with a site visit. Our goal is to admit up to 18 students each fall semester, beginning no sooner than the fall of 2023. And at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions for Kim? Hearing none, I'll let Michelle, if you would help us out with a motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to accept the initial nursing program application for Berkeley College for a traditional BSN program with a site visit to occur before approval is given to admit 18 students annually beginning fall of 2023.
This is Dee Bonenblest, and I will make that motion.
This is Christina. I'll second that motion.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed say no. Any abstentions? Looks like that motion carries. Thanks for that, Kim.
Thank you.
The next piece we have on the list is 2021 Nclex first time pass rates. Janelle, you want to talk about that a minute?
Yes, Janelle Martin, Nursing Education Compliance Officer. What you have in front of you is the Nclex first time pass rate summary for all Kansas schools. And I just wanted to point out a couple of things before we kind of look at this, is that the 2021 Nclex pass rates are still under the pass rate standard of 75% that were in the old regs. As you recall, the new regs took effect January 1 of this year. So we won't look at the pass rates under the new standard until 2022 rates next year. And I just wanted to remind everybody of that. So in looking at this, I will say a couple of things off the top. The Kansas pass rates, while we went down a little bit, we're still above the national standard. The national average for the Nclex really, it took a bigger dive than we did. So I thought that was a good indication for our programs that we maintained fairly steady. We had, again, a little bit of a decline, but it was not significant, and it did stay above national passing standards overall for both RN and PN level. So a couple of things. We did have, for the RN programs, we did have 4 programs that were below the 75% for 1 year. and then one program that was below for 2 years. Just in kind of keeping and looking at what this would mean if this were next year, if we were looking at the 80%, there were 4 additional programs that were below the 80%. Again, that won't have an impact this year, but just an idea for you of what that might look like moving forward if the standard were applied today. For the PN programs, there were 2 programs below for this year only, and then no programs were below for 2 years. So just the 2 below for the 1 year. So under the standard that this is looked at for those under 1 year in our regulation, we don't have any mention of doing anything when there's a 1 year. So according to that, I would just ask if you still, for programs that are below for 2 years, the board usually asks that a letter be sent, a written note of concern, and requesting a written report to the board analyzing all aspects of the educational program, and to have that back to us within 3 months. And so we have one program, and I just want your go ahead that that's still what you want to do, is to send that one letter of concern to the program that was below for 2 years, below the 75% standard for 2 years.
So I think that was in the regulation, which is the pieces we are to follow. So I'm for the group that doesn't have that background, that is the rules we follow along to help keep the schools in compliance.
Right.
For the regulation there. So that would just be one school for a letter.
Right. And the additional thing I wanted to just check in with is we have usually also sent letters of recognition to all the schools that were above the national average. And that was 36 schools this year, and a certificate for those that were at 100%. And we do have 5 schools we want to recognize for the 100% pass rates. Salina Area Tech had 100% for both RN and PN. Barton Community College, Labette Community College, and Nck Tech Beloit, all their PN programs all had 100% pass rates this year. So I just want to go ahead and send those letters of appreciation and the certificates for 100% pass rates for those programs.
I don't see a motion for that. So unless we have anybody that's against that, I think we'll let you go ahead and follow.
Okay, I will do that. If anybody has any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them. But I think in a nutshell, that was kind of where we are.
So these will be published after today?
Yes, with your review and approval to do that, we will get these posted to the website as soon as possible.
Any questions or other concerns anyone has around the pass rates?
Madam Chair, this is Christina. What are we going to do if there's a program from 2021 and 2020, if they had the 2 years below the standard, and then in 2022, would that still be under the old regulation or the new regulation? Because that would be the 3rd year that they would be.
I think, yeah, I understand the concern, and we've talked quite a bit about that, knowing that these revised regulations did not take effect until January 1 of this year. So should not penalize the people before that.
Right.
So I think the general consensus was we would follow that. The regulation that is enforced now for this year will continue from here on, but not pick up back. And that was not what was in place before. Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely makes sense. Yeah, I think, but if I remember correctly, and perhaps I misunderstood it, is for the 3rd year under the new regulations, would they not be placed on a probationary or I think I'm using the wrong words.
Conditional approval.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yes. So that would go in effect the same, even though the process started in 2 years prior. Am I understanding that correctly?
I think it's going to be on an individual basis, but I don't think we are trying really hard not to punish someone for a new reg that just started now for past work that was done. Not that anybody would have done any different but it's not to be retro back. Carol, can you help me out a little bit there? Are we all on the same page here?
Yes, we are. Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to realize you're going from one set of rules to a new set of rules. Okay, so you can't really start mixing the two up and stuff like that. You're basically going to start with a new set of rules. So you would be following that starting January 1st of this year.
Okay, thank you.
That makes sense?
Yes, it does. It just gets all muddled in my brain.
Yeah.
And when I
It
get,
does.
yeah, so I just want to make sure that I understand it clearly. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I think the biggest thing is that we all want the schools to be successful. And with that, we know that if it has been 3 years and you've been struggling, if we all need to start looking at that pretty heavily. But the regs say, as far as the pieces that we can follow now, we'll start with this new implementation of January 1. So maybe that'll make everybody sleep a little better tonight, maybe. But yeah.
I had sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
I had just a clarification. I see that one program has no data. And Janelle, if you address that, I apologize.
Janelle, you're on mute.
Thought I clicked it. The reason for that is that's Dodge City Community College, and they have an ADN with a PN opt-out. So if they had no PNs opt out at the PN level and take the exam, there would be no data for them. So they would that means that all of them for this year went on to the ADN and did not stop to take the PN exam. Does that make sense?
It does, but actually I think it's Donnelly that has the no data.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're correct. So Donnelly College, when they started their ADN, they had kind of a rough first year. They were put on conditional approval and didn't admit for 1 year following that in order to kind of get things, they had a new director, they got things reorganized. So there is a year there where they did not admit. So they did not have data for 2021. They now have a class in process. So we will see data again in 2022. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Hope that makes sense.
Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, I'm going to move to the next piece, English proficiency exam. Looks like we looked at a new option, and part of this information was in the on-site packet. Janelle, can you give us a brief overview of what this is?
Yes. Currently, our board has approved the TOEFL exam as a test of English proficiency. If we have someone who applies for a license who graduated from a program that did not have English, did not use English textbooks, did not have English as their primary language when they were taking their program. So in the past, we've only approved the TOEFL as that test, and you set standards for that. We've had requests along the way, and this year in particular, to relook at that. There is the IELTS, or the International English Language Testing System, is another English proficiency testing process that is utilized quite heavily throughout the U.S. and it's an international, so other countries as well. And it probably has as much popularity and use as the TOEFL does. And so we've been asked to consider, there are a lot of programs that are working on getting nurses from international spots to the U.S. that utilize this. And so they were asking for consideration if we would look at this and possibly additionally accept the IELTS as well as the TOEFL as a means of assuring English proficiency when they get licensed here. So I put in a little bit about the IELTS, and I had not done all the research. That's why your on-site just has a little bit of more detailed data that I wanted to share with you regarding the test and how it's scored and how it might look comparatively if we look at the TOEFL and how you set the standards. So the additional information in the on-site packet, I think it's pages 21 and 22 of your on-site packet, basically identifies some, and I'm just going to do some high level, that there are over 11,000 organizations that use this, which is similar to the TOEFL. 280 professional boards use it. 28 other state boards use this as either one or the only English proficiency test that they have. If you look at page 21, what I've done is taken where our TOEFL scores, what our range is. Now we have individual requirements for each section of the TOEFL. There are 4. It's the same for the IELTS. There's the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking section. So those are all the same. And the IELTS also scores each of those sections individually, as well as giving an overall score. So what I did was kind of look through all of those state boards and some of the other professional organizations just as a comparative. And what you see is the IELTS does an 8-band approach. And what the bands mean is on page 452 of your packet. So it goes from did not attempt the test, which is a 0, or 1, not a user, to a 9, which is their expert band. So that's fully operational command of language and everything, fluent, complete understanding. So it ranks everything up through there. So the band so if we were to do this, my understanding would be if we set the IELTS as another way of proving English proficiency, that we would also need to set what the parameters are that the board wants to do that. So that's why I put these comparisons in here for you to give you an idea of what those boards are doing. So I think the 2 things I'll mention, so I've highlighted, or in your comparison, the KSBN range for the TOEFL is in the 6.5 of the IELTS band. So 6.5 as an overall score would kind of coincide with where if you looked at ours as an overall score. If you wanted to look at them each individually, several of the organizations did have a lot of them did was put like a 6.5. The most common set scores were for an overall score of 6.5 with a minimum score of 7 on the speaking section and no sub-score below a 6. That was the most common, but you can make it as simple as a 6.5, which means no section can be below 6.5. You can set, a couple of them had a minimum standard for their RN level that was a 6.5 and for their PN that was a 6.0. That was a thing. Some of the professional organizations, many of them used the 7.0 band as a minimum for the speaking. I found that to be a very common one. From where our current TOEFL is, and this, I mean, I'm just going to give you an idea. For our reading score, we're at the 6.5 band. For our writing score, we're at the 5.5 band. For our speaking score, we're at the 6.5, and for our listening score, we're at the 6.5. That's how it correlates if you just look at it specifically from what we have in TOEFL to IELTS. So I guess saying those things, I would leave it to you. If you have questions, anything that's not here that you have a question about. Oh, one other thing. There are 2 tests, the IELTS. They do an academic and a general. And in looking, I think most of these tests that I was looking at for the professional organizations was the academic test. It's a little more focused on a higher level professional academic level of, especially for writing and reading.
So any other questions that the group has? This is a big thing for anybody that's new to this group. TOEFL has been a huge event for us, and the specific areas with minimal requirements has been a big deal in helping these people get licensed and taking care of the schooling that they had. So Carol Moreland, do you think we need to back up here a little bit and do specifically for each group like we did with the TOEFL, or is this generality something that you think would, we were very specific with the other choices.
Yeah, this is Carol Moreland, Executive Administrator. I think you would be good to have specific for each of the areas like you did for TOEFL, because that has been very helpful for us. So that would be my comments?
You know, it's something on a smaller scale. At my school, we do a Nelson Deddy reading comprehension, and it has vocab and it has comprehension with it. And we have an overall score, but the individual scores tell a lot about where the need is for that person. So I have a motion here in front of me, but it has a minimum standard for all the sub scores. Are we wanting to do that, or do we want to look at this some more before we make a final wave on this? Group, what do you think?
I agree with you, Patsy, and everybody else. I think that having the individual sub-scores is necessary. I just think it gives a more comprehensive view of what we're looking at and where their needs may lie. And I love the idea of having an additional test, not just the TOEFL.
Dee, you've worked with this quite a bit too over the years. Do you have some input?
Yeah, I was going to agree with both you and Christina that I think the clearer we can make it, it just eliminates room for miscommunication and misunderstanding across all areas of education, and then actually applicants too for the State Board of Nursing. So certainly agree that we should maybe think about it. And is this something that we could bring back to the June agenda, or is that too late?
I don't think we have a timeline here. I think we need to make sure. I would like to do it as best we can the first time instead of redo. So do you think we should get some more information and come back? Do we need a motion to move on to not do this? Where do we need to go from here?
I think the information is being presented to you as an option. If you choose to ask for additional information, that's fine. We have a motion ready if that was something you're ready to do. But if there's additional information I can bring back for you, or just additional reading or work you would like to do or ask me to do, I would be glad to do that and bring it back to the June meeting.
The motion that we have right in front of us here says to approve this is a proficiency testing along with TOEFL 6.45 overall with no subsection score below 6.5. So it puts in a generality is what I'm looking at here that maybe we want to clarify. So if the group is in agreement, I don't think we really need a motion, but we maybe would bring more information back before we make a final decision on that. Is that what we want to do? Okay.
Could you help me a little bit with what additional information you would like to have?
I think in the specific areas in comparison, like you've already done some, that we could have and verify in a motion, those specific areas, just like we do with TOEFL.
Okay.
And yes, Dee, I think that's a good idea. We could bring it back to the June meeting. Some people maybe not even totally understand what this is all about. So that might give an idea to reread that packet a little bit better so you could kind of understand that it's a big deal in our education working world. So.
Right. And on page 453, I mean, this is available on the website too. This is a little packet that they have for organizations to look at. Okay. But 453 has kind of the band scores with what they call linguistically demanding academic versus training courses. It kind of gives you an idea of what they have found in there. And on the website too, there's some testing that has been done related to this to make it current to where they think it's fair, that it's very comparative in terms of the people who can meet these levels. So I will do a little more specific work, but that band score and how that ranks across academic and training is there too, just kind of as a way to look at that for you all.
And this is Andrea Watson, just a question for clarification so I understand. It sounds like what you were saying, Patsy, is that for future and looking at a motion, something that is as specific as page 21, I think it's page 21 of our on-site packet, as you're saying, it gives those comparisons, those specific areas, what the expectation would be versus an overall score with a minimum general statement.
That's exactly right. Exactly. Yeah. So I guess that's one of the commitments for this committee is that something like this, I'm going to head to my testing center and find out what they know about that and what they think about it, and I'll get that input there. That's where I'm headed. Janelle has a great suggestion about that website, but I'm gonna, the boots on the ground, I'm gonna ask some questions there, then I'll be a little more informed. That's part of the work here that we do. If we can do that behind, then when we come back, we'll be able to make a quick, clean decision. So thanks for the help today. I think that'll work. Thanks, Janelle, for all your work.
Sure.
And we've given you another assignment.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, thanks for that. Let's move on to unfinished business then, the annual report update, NCSBN pilots status. They
So
talked
this-
about it at the mid-year about maybe making that published in April, right?
Right. So I was just going to say, we don't quite have it yet, but they're hoping it to be very soon. So hopefully at the June meeting, we just wanted to keep it on our radar that they are working on. The COVID analysis they did is out. So that was what their first priority was at that point. So.
Okay. Then we'll move right on to 2022 nursing and MHT program site visit schedules.
Okay, from what you have in your packet, I think there's one additional thing is that we did approve in December a satellite for Barton Community College on the Pratt Community College campus, and they've requested their site visit, which was approved for us to do, and so I believe we're going to do that on April 27th. It will just be a one-day visit to the Pratt campus for that. And other than that, I'm still trying to schedule the Coffeyville Community College visit. So that's not I don't have a date for that yet, but I think all the others are set for fall that we know about. So I'm just waiting on Coffeyville to respond with some possibilities for dates.
Do you have enough help there, or do you need anybody that's interested to contact you?
What I have there, if it has a check mark on it, that has been confirmed. The others are people I put in there as possibilities, so I do need to double check with them. If any of you have issue with or question about or need to make changes, just let me know. Otherwise, what's there is what we'll go with. Again, I don't have a date for Coffeyville, so Christina, I had you down there, but I don't have a date yet, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Okay, thanks for that, Janelle.
Yeah, and as far as I know, they're all going to be in person for fall. I haven't heard anybody yet saying virtual, so just to let you know.
Okay, 5-year legislative review. We review some of these statutes, which are laws. We have a rotation that we look at those. That's what we're doing today. Anything, Carol, that you want to say about those?
No, I don't think so. You basically just review them and see if there's anything that you think needs to be changed. Like Patsy said, these are both statutes. So you could recommend changes, but it has to go to the legislature and they do it, because the path for these is totally different than the rules and regs. So just kind of be aware of that. But I think that's all I have.
Thank you. So KSA 74-1106 general, those were in your packet. So did everybody have a chance to look at those? Any questions? Okay, Michelle, I'll let you read a motion.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve KSA 74-1106 as written.
This is Christina. I'll make that motion.
This is Juliana. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. The next one is 65-1133 training programs. Any questions about that one?
And this is training programs for the APRN level, just to clarify.
Okay. Okay, Michelle, I'll let you read that motion also.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve KSA 65-1133 as written.
This is Andrea Watson. I'll make that motion.
And this is Dee Bonenbless, and I will second that motion.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Okay, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, petitions. We had something last meeting that we needed to correct, so we're going to do that first. Janelle, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, Janelle Martin, Education Compliance Officer. The last petition summary we had petitioner Jordan Seek, who we did approve, but she had an incorrect graduation date on the application. So it wasn't until after the fact when she asked me how come her conditions, they weren't in line with her what she knew was her graduation date. And so what we're requesting is we'd like a motion to remove her from the December summary, just remove her completely. She has resubmitted her application with the correct date. She will be in the current summary, and we will look at that next. But what I'd like to propose is, if you would be agreeable, is to remove her from the December summary as a public statement that we're just removing her completely, and that approval will just go away. She will be taken off.
So any questions? Okay, Michelle, we'll let you read that motion for us.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to remove Jordan Seek from the approved petitioner summary list for December 2021 due to an error in graduation date.
This is Dee Bonenbless, and I so move.
Michelle Burdishaw, I second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? That motion carries.
Thank you.
And the last one we have is the petitions for permission to test, retest that have gone through our system and are now on the list that have been approved by Janelle to get on this list, right? So we're going to have a motion for that.
Is there a committee member that would like to make the following motion? I move to approve the petition for permission to test, retest summary from November 16th, 2021 through November 28th, 2022, which includes Pinar Honda, Jordan Seek, Samson Civiza, Brooke Stroud, Brandon Gottschalk, Shamika Thompson.
And that motion, Michelle, should read, it's through February 28th. It may have been, didn't get quite all of our dates. So it's November 16th to February 28th of this year for this particular summary.
I have February 28th, 2022. Is that the wrong date?
That's correct. You said November. That's why I was making sure you had the correct date.
Oh,
Okay,
yes,
so-
it says from November 16th, 2021 through February 28th, 2022.
Maybe I just heard wrong. I apologize.
Okay, so that's the motion in front of us. So would someone like to make that motion?
This is Michelle Burdishaw. I'll approve.
This is Christina. I'll second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion?
I'm sorry, I think I misunderstood. Did I hear you say Brooke Stroud? Okay, all right. I must not have just heard it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Okay, believe it or not, we're ready to set the agenda for June. Anything we need to put on that agenda?
The two things I have as continuing would be the NCSBN pilot summary report. We hopefully will have that. And then I'll bring back more information on the IELTS. Those are the two things I have currently.
Okay, we'll put those on the agenda. I have one other thing I want to bring up. In the meeting today, there was some question about PN preceptors and that the regulations do not speak to that. So I just want to hear from the group. Is there a concern there? Is it something we need to have more conversation about? That is a regulation. So if there was some concern, that would be through a process to get some of that changed. So Dee, I saw you took your microphone off. Do you have a comment?
Yeah, really my comment is, I just think we need clarification, one way or the other. I mean, I'm not proposing that we change the regulations, but just for, we agreed today to add several more PN programs. And I think that question is just going to continue to come up. And so I think if we can get a solid, clarified answer to those programs, that would be fair to them.
Okay. And right now the regs do not speak to that, meaning that a PN program is not under the regs allowed to do that. That's what the regs speak right now, but some clarification, yes, in writing, so we would know that. Do we want to come back with a clarification statement? Do a couple of people want to put that together? What are we talking about? It's interpretation of the regulations is what it is. Okay.
Well, so if we have, if we come back as the committee and say that that's, that our interpretation of that regulation is because it's not stated under the PN regulations that it is not allowed, so would that just mean that those programs are not in compliance and that needs to be, do we have to go back and say that that's a recommendation on their site visits then?
Well, in the school that I've been brought up in, the regulations are the interpretation of the statute, the law, and those regulations are written down so we have guidelines to follow. It's in the RN, it says about the preceptor and how many hours it can be and et cetera, et cetera. It lines it out pretty carefully. It doesn't, that I recall, it doesn't say cannot have, but it doesn't list in there anything about that. Carol, do you have some information here?
Madam Chair, this is Carol Moreland, and I was just going to offer, usually when we have some questions about something in the regs and we want interpretation, I can take that to our legal counsel, who then does interpret it for us. An attorney who can interpret the law pretty well. If you would like to, I can talk to him about this and do you want me to bring that back in June or?
I think that's what we're looking at. Bring it back in June. We'll put it on the agenda just so we can have that statement from legal counsel.
Okay, we'll do.
Is that agreeable with everybody to put it on the agenda?
Yes.
I just had heard it a couple times, so I didn't want to go past it and act like nobody said it, right? So we'll see what the legal counsel gives us.
And just for awareness, it came up as it did come up. The kind of the other school of thought is it's not there. People are, I think there are some that are kind of interpreting from it's there for the RN, so they assume and don't see it for the PN. And others are saying, well, in the absence of anything, we're doing this. It doesn't say we can't do it. So those are kind of the two approaches that I've heard. So just for your information and why we might need some clarification.
That's why we're asking, and I guarantee the legal counsel has a better idea of that than I do.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. So we'll get that information back. And Carol, if you could bring that statement back for us, that would help. Clarification. Thank you. Okay, anything else we need to add to the agenda? Okay, with not hearing anything, I don't see a motion to adjourn, so we're going to be able to do that. Okay, thanks for your help today and hanging in there with me to be done at 11:10.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.